Hello everyone, I am Nicola and I am an HEMA instructor, historical European martial artist, as we can say. In Italy I am instructor for the Compagnia d'Arme La Rosa e la Spada and for the Associazione Italiana Maestri d'Arme for the sword and buckler and two-handed medieval sword. Now I am studying by myself for the two-handed Renaissance sword. You can see that this weapon could be massive and really large, but if you follow me, you can see that it's really a refined weapon. I say this because I study this discipline by the master Achille Marozzo and his treatise. The master, of course, lived and died along the 16th century. He died in 1553. We have two major treatises and we will study from both of them. I am here not to teach to anyone by videos what I say or what I show. There is no way to learn martial arts with no practice. But I am here hoping that you would be interested in picking on and move for clubs in your city or your country and then begin to practice this really wonderful art. Also, I love to discuss about what I study and what I show. So I would really love that in comment section we can have a pacific discussion about what I say. Let's begin from the really basics, just to give some movement. So, talking about the sword, we see that it is composed by various parts. Of course, the blade is used to cut, and we will see how in the basic kits explanation with the straight edge or the false edge. And the point is used to stab. The little guard, called by the master El Setti, is really peculiar of this kind of sword and will be used in narrow measure or close combat situation, while the wider guard has its function since the 11th century to protect the hand of the fighter by the hits that come too strong. Going down there, we'll be seeing this later. The handling is very important in the two-handed sword used, so we will see that it is no use only in narrow and straight cuts descending, but it is also used to rotate and have a greater spinning power and greater speed, of course. While the pommel is used to weigh everything and to balance everything, so it is used even in close combat situations, such as hits or even grappling. We'll be seeing this in the techniques of the master. So, before going finally to the basic kits, the cuts, we can see that handling the sword is not as easy as it looks. Many times I see illustration or video games or movies where the sword with long handle is held this way or this way like an X, or even this way. There is no sense of this. This has no sense at all. This neither. This less than ever. Axes can be held this way to deliver major power, but this is not an axe. This is a sword, a knightish weapon. Or, if not a knight, maybe the swordsman was someone instructed in doing this, and we have treatises talking about the sword fighting and not the axe fighting. We may have pole-axe medieval fighting or Renaissance fighting, but not as we have the two-handed or single-handed sword fighting. So, being basic, sword is held this way all the time. If you don't hold the sword this way, you have great matters. Renaissance two-handed sword, or tug, can be held this way with the thumb on the ricasso, the part that joins the guard with the blade. So, camera position. Or even Renaissance two-handed sword fighting with our finger on the guard. This simple sword has no rings, but there are Renaissance two-handed kind of sword that had protections even over the guard. Weight rings protecting the rings, the fingers. So, to give an advantage on the spinning. So, beginning the explanation of the basic cuts in two-handed Renaissance sword fighting, we have to say that these swords were often wielded with no protection at all, only clothes. In various situations that we will not explain here because it would be too long. But let's say that this sword is not a razor, so it needs some strength to cut. So we will not have these simple quick touches, but we will have real cuts, going from one part of the body to another. And we will talk about this later in the time explanation. So let's have an example. This could be cut, but this could be not. I know that for someone who is practicing this sword fighting alone, it could be a little hard to understand, because we have no target at all. Luckily, I have a great assistant, and now I will show you how to hit him in a proper way. Marozzo gave us a chart that you will now be seeing in the video. So, let's explain this. Pendente mandritto, sgualembro mandritto, tondo mandritto, ridoppio mandritto, falso mandritto, traverso fendente, traverso sgualembro, tondo roverso, ridoppio roverso, falso roverso. Well, we have seen how to perform an attack against our enemy. Now we'll see how to block these attacks. We have a golden rule for this, and it is something like rock, paper, scissors. We know that horizontal attacks are blocked by vertical blocks, vertical attacks are blocked by horizontal blocks, and diagonal attacks are blocked by diagonal blocks. This may seem something like complicated, but in practice I will show that this is really simple. It just needs a lot of practice. The master himself, in fact, tells to us that you don't show the attacks, the cuts or the thrust without showing his parati, his blocks. There are many other types of defense, but we will see them later. Now let's focus on the blocks. So we have seen how to deliver the cuts. Let's talk about the guards. Guards are the passing from one hit to another, or the blocks against the hits. Cuts or thrust. We will talk about three families. The code. This is coda longa stretta. It is really common in Bolognese fencing. You can see that I leave this part of my body voluntarily exposed to enemies' thrust and attack. this is an invitation, and we will talk about this later. Again, on the coda, we can have the coda longa alta, which is every time with the left leg onwards. Point is every time against the enemy. It is not open, but it is not even here. You must give your way open to your enemy to leave him to attack you, or he will simply flee, and you don't want to run over him all the time. Now you have the coda longa and larga. This is really peculiar for the two-handed sword, because in single-handed sword it is not this-like, but it will be also used from the master against the spears. Now we have the coda longa and distesa. Every time we will have the left leg standing on. We will talk about the importance of the standing legs later. Coda longa and distesa is really full to take. It leaves you all time discard and you have no swift parry. So when we hold this guard, we must be really careful that this is not so near the enemy. So we must use this with the most of the attention. Closing the codes, we will now go to the porta di ferro stretto. This is an iron door. Nothing must pass behind this. This blocks everything. With a simple movement of my hand, I can block everything from every direction. Now we have the most common guard used for the two-handed Renaissance sword fighting by the master, and it is porta di ferro alto. You can see that the point is not exactly in the front of the enemy, but it is really high, so it must menace. It must carry my enemy, and I don't have to have the will to come close to my enemy. So this is totally opposed to the coda invitation. And now we have the porta di ferro larga. It is down here. It gives an invitation to my upper parts, but it also has some hits that are charged, so we can go up with this thrust from the side, and we can go even up with this false edge hit. Now we have the cinghiara porta di ferro stretta, that are basically totally equal to the porta di ferro stretta, but they are down with the left leg standing up. Cinghiara porta di ferro stretta, and it gives an invitation to our right parts. Cinghiara porta di ferro alta. The point here, the thrust here is more charged. And then we have the cinghiara porta di ferro larga, totally discolored. So here it is. Coda longa and stretta, coda longa and alta, coda longa and larga, coda longa e distesa, porta di ferro stretta, porta di ferro alta, porta di ferro larga, cinghiara porta di ferro stretta, cinghiara porta di ferro alta, cinghiara porta di ferro larga. With this blade having a variation. So now we'll be talking about the Tramazzone. This is a really peculiar hit from the Bolognese fencing, although it does not come only from them. We have some tracks from Filippo di Badi in 15th century. But the characteristic of the Bolognese Tramazzone is to go on a wider use. So let's say that the Tramazzone is something like this. A spinning hit. I will lever with my handle, go with the pommel right above and then deliver the hit. This can be not only a mandritto but even a roverso, so we will have tramazzone roverso and tramazzone mandritto, pendenti or sgualimbri, we have seen. The common use of the tramazzone was, before the Bolognese revolution we can say, is to use this after the pushing of our enemy on our blade. Going from the grades, our enemy could block our sword and then perform the thrust on our chest or face, and then we could be able to use the tramazzone to defend ourselves after we have dodged. Bolognese fencing not only use the tramazzone for this reason, but even as a simple hit that goes to mandritto arredoppiato. For an example, we can say 1, 2 in a really fast way. Let's see this from the binding. He comes to block our blade and then go in with the thrust. Pretty dead, but not with the tramazzone magic. So 1, 2, 3. We are showing this standing legs. I also suggest to you to use every time movements when you are attacked. If not going away, even to go on the side. We'll be talking specifically about the movements on the next video. But let's have this tutorial right now. Here it is. Well, we have been talking about something that is really basic in the two-handed sword fighting, and it is almost common in every two-handed sword fighting about every period. We will be talking about something more characteristic for the Renaissance period and Italian sword fighting. One of these things is the Guardia di Testa, and we may translate this in English in something like defense of the head or ward of the head. It is a position of our arms that defend us this way. As we can see, it does not block the hits directed to all the head, but it blocks the hits directed to our right side, and so the hits coming from the left side. I show you this guard because it is really useful, and it is the very first thing shown us from the master in the treatise and in the techniques. This can be a good isometrical exercise, and we can use this even in a couple, with an assistant maybe, or a friend, to practice and to exercise ourselves to stretch our arms. And now I will show you how. Right? 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. So, we have seen the Guardia di Testa, that is really peculiar in the Bolognese fencing, and in this two-handed school has a great utility. And now we will see one hit that can be performed by this guard. This hit is not only performed by this guard, but in the first occasion that the master shows us this hit, he starts from this guard. And this hit is the Falso Impuntato. One false is one hit that is going on with the false edge. 1 point is a hit that is going along with the stab. And so when we merge them, we have the Falso Impuntato. This can be performed from our Roverso side and even from our Mandritto side. Let's practice with this combination of guard and hit to begin, because this is the very first hits that are shown us by the master in these techniques. So 1, 2. Let's notice that while you have the guard, you must take your way to perform the false cut before starting the movement with the leg. And while you're going, you must adjust yourself and then move on with your leg. You will never have to charge your hit while going on. Never do this. Not only because you must even don't hit your enemy if he stays strong, but even because you leave yourself open to his attacks. Now I will show you some couple times, then my assistant will show you what I mean. So 1, charge. While I discharge, I begin stretching out my arms, and then I go. My target with the Falso Impuntato from the left side for the biggest part of the times will be on this great circle here, above the shoulder, between the neck and the chest. Not so close, not so low, excuse me. Go to lift your arms and then go inward to the center. Here, not something like this that is really lazy, or something that is this that is too much exaggerated. You must load your arms and stretch them out. Now you will have the perfect Falso Impuntato. Now I will be the lucky one, someone that goes to deliver a proper blow against his enemy at first try. Let's see. 1, he's totally confused by my movement, and 2, here it is. Let's see, flowing, yeah. 1, 2, here it is. And we may go on for a lot of time with this fantasy, but truth is that you will simply go with a straight, narrow, easy, tight thrust to his face. Probably, if he's not totally stupid, he will stop himself and reconcile them. But if you are fast enough, you can do something like this. As you can see, he tried to stop himself, but I closed the measure and go on to him. This is to note that you must be certain of what you do with a sword in your hand, and you must have no hesitation at all. So you must do one thing correctly. No hesitation, no mistakes. One mistake is one life that goes away. Very well. We have finished our arguments for today. I hope that you have reached this part with no boring or tiring. I have noted all the time skip that for each argument, and I hope that this has been useful for someone that has some experience, because I have structured this lesson starting from the very basics, because I would like to discuss on HEMA practitioners for years about the basics, and there is a lot to say about the experience and even the fencing style, because we know that each weapon has its style and a kind of movement. We will talk of this on next issues, on next video. But I would also like to have some feedbacks from someone that is just starting HEMA or wanna start HEMA. I hope there is I know and I hope that there is a lot of people that want to practice historical European martial arts and can't. I push everyone to join in in the clubs, in the city, in the country, everywhere it is possibility. By myself, I am doing this. I started doing this a lot of some years ago. Don't say a lot because I'm still young, but some years ago, and I have done my own sacrifice to perform this art that I think that is very beautiful. Well, enough said. I am Solo Goroi. I hope that you will continue to follow me, because on next videos we will continue, we will go on, we will keep on to support my terrible English, well, and my gestures, I'm Italian, you know, but we will go on mixing basics and advanced. We have seen basics that are common in most of the fencing arts, and we have seen something advanced that is peculiar for the two-handed Renaissance sword. Well, if you were asking why I wasn't having a sword in my hand in this last take, you know that this is for this hands gesture. Well, enough. I will see you to the next lesson.